What is going on, everybody? WiFiFlips University wanted to go ahead and start answering some of the questions. Maybe not see it by the background, but I remember when we started the wait list, there's a couple of questions that I had for everybody, and I appreciate everybody that answered them. And so I want to go ahead and address them. These are questions that help me serve you and help each other in the WiFiFlips University world and the community kind of help each other out. So the first question, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the questions, tag the person that asked the question, and hopefully I give you an answer, or hopefully, try to point you in the right direction, kind of make this community thrive and, get what you need out of it as soon as possible, right? So Vishal Gupta, shout out to Vishal Gupta. I think we've connected for some time now. And the first question is, what do you believe is holding you back the most at the moment in your real estate investing business? And he said, taking massive action. I will tell you that this is a common question for a lot of people, right? How do I take massive action? We have to actually, instead of thinking massive and thinking like big scope, we have to actually break it down in our calendars. At least that's what I found to actually work. I find that the days that I wake up early, get a workout in, eat right, and have my kind of week ahead already planned, I get my content out, I get the meeting with my team members, things flow. But if I don't have a set time and date for the things that I need to do, then I just won't get the result. So we have to, I'd say, narrow it down a little bit more, Vishal. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Instead of just thinking, oh, taking massive action. So what does that mean? Like, what is taking massive action? Do you really need to take massive action, or can we be more smart about it? Right? Can we leverage? Because this is what we want to do. I mean, I'm here to help you guys scale your wholesale real estate investing business. This is not a let's hustle 24/7 type of mentality. This is how can we use inbound lead generation? How can we use systems? How can we use virtual team members to kind of work ourselves out of the business? So my wholesale business, I run it pretty much, on a 2 hour per day situation. If there's like some fires to put out, maybe a little bit more. And, I can only teach what I know. Right. And so taking massive action, I think we need to really figure out before taking massive action in the wrong way. We have to figure out what the end result is and what the gap is and how can we put it on the calendar. Right. What goals are you trying to achieve in the next 12 months in your real estate investing efforts? Purchase 75 units, looking to get multifamily housing buildings. Okay. So if that is the goal, then this, that's not the focus here. But I'll tell you, I'm a passive in you know, bigger buildings like these. You have to figure out whether you want to be a syndicator, which is the active role on multifamily investing, or if you want to be passive, right? If you have some funds that you want to put passively. I will tell you it's two very different beasts, right? If you want to get into multifamily housing, you want to be active about it, essentially that's not something that I really teach. It's not something that we really coach on here. Um, but I can tell you this much, you need to kind of get around syndicators if you want to take an whether you're taking an active or a passive role, you have to network with people that are, in the trenches and kind of learn to speak that lingo, if you would. What have you tried so far that is not working for you? Standard methods, need to build a proper lead source, which doesn't require cold calling. Okay. Now you're talking to me. And update my website, which at one time was ranked #1 in my market for searches. Okay, so let's take it one thing at a time. Okay. Um, in this university, in WiFiFlips University, what I like to see is first, you guys kind of realize that we want to treat this as a business from the start. So a business requires investment, right? So that's why if you look at the featured links on the WiFiFlips University, you'll see, hey, access 0% interest capital with fund and growth. They have even like a $1 offer there for you guys. Because with real estate, the sales cycle is 90 to 120 days from when you actually put ad dollars out. There's some free ways, and they're in the learning section that you can, dig into. You can become the dispo master in your area. But at the same time, you can learn how to actually set this machine up. right? Setting the machine up for another investor to go 50-50 with you, you are the time, you're the effort, you're the skill, they're the capital, will allow you to actually make this a very enjoyable business, is another way to go about it. In terms of lead sources, what I like to see is you first really stabilize your revenue with paper lead generation. And you can see in the links right here, one of our main sources, PPLFHO. And I still use them in my business. And so ideally, if you can get your sales process lined up with viable leads, where you only pay for viable leads, you only pay for the lead if it's not listed, if it's in your county, if it's not a wholesaler, if it's an actual house with land, if it's in the territory, right? You can figure out, okay, this is my cost per deal. And then eventually what you want to do is migrate over to owning your traffic so that you can beat that cost per deal. So let's say that with an outsourced PPL, FHO, or a paper lead vendor, and not all of them are great, right? And you have to test it. This is why we need capital, right? You need to test it because some PPL vendors are better in different areas. What I've seen more consistently and what I've seen work as a start off, PPL, FHO there, go ahead and start with that. And so then your first goal is to get revenue coming in, not messing around with lists, not messing around with 10 different softwares, not trying to figure out how to do a creative finance or finance wraparound, all that BS. No, your first goal is to make revenue and get a steady set of escrows going. And it's either leads, which is what you're speaking of, problem solved right there. It's either sales process, which is solved if you go to the learning area on our Bentley script process, the same process that we use works, or it's systems. And we have coming up, you can sign up for the wait list on our CRM REI machines. If not, you can dig into the REI Profits Fast Track and see what CRM we used to use, which is still very much a viable option. Okay. In terms of your website ranking number one, a lot of people say that SEO is free leads. Is not. Search engine optimization, it takes constant tweaking. It takes constant backlinking and updating and social. It's not free, right? It is not free. It's probably one of the best lead sources for sure, but it's not free. And I found it to be, at least in my case, in my opinion, right, a little bit inconsistent, right? I think paid can be more consistent. I think SEO in the long term has a higher ROI. Those are just my 2 cents. All right, so that was Vishal Gupta. Let's see, Marlene Trice. What's going on, Marlene? So real estate investor. Let's see, Lana. Okay. Actually, I can't read that much. Let me pull this over here. Let's see, PDF. Let me pull it up one sec because I want to make sure I address Marlene's questions. All right. What do you believe is holding you back? Seems like she's had some sort of physical recovery going on. Well, we're rooting for you here in the WiFiFlips University for sure. Needing to start over with employees. Okay. All right. So I can't quite read the second question, but what I say anybody that's looking to start over is it's really hard to teach what you haven't done yourself, right? So you guys are here, you have access to the content, you have the weekly calls, you have the monthly workshops. Like there's really no reason to say, I don't know where I should go. Like literally, if you jump into REI Profits Fast Track module, just start working your way through there, asking your questions on a weekly basis. A founding member of WiFiFlips University, you have everything you need. You would not hear me say start off by getting employees. That's just overhead, right? If you have a day job, the first role that you need to be hiring out, which we're going to be covering here in the future workshops, is the coordinator role. And the coordinator role, you can pay $7 to $9 an hour for somebody to call the leads first, make sure that they book appointments for you so that you can actually have, those conversations. So really the first goal should not be getting employees. The first goal should be getting deals on the board, getting deals under contract. Because eventually you want to get so good at closing over the phone because it's more scalable than going in person, that you can then teach somebody to do it for you, right? But I would challenge the fact that you're thinking, hey, I'm going to start, need to start over with employees, at least from what I'm reading. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. It's kind of a little bit of cut off here. All right. Let's see. I've got Hoven Eugenio. He says, okay, what do you believe, Hoven, is holding you back the most? Capital and consistency. Got it. Okay. So capital, I'd say that our cost per closing, not contract, our cost per closing is as low as $1,500 all the way to $5,000. And we get a return on ad spend of, on the low side, I mean, on the low side could be like one, meaning just getting a dollar for dollar. That, that's too low for me. I would say that you want to keep alive and going is 6 times whatever dollar amount you're putting in. And I've seen it as high as 27, like, for really banging, cost return on ad spend. With that said, let's talk capital. Let's talk about capital. And we touched on this a little bit just a minute ago. There's no lack of capital. There's lack of resourcefulness. Well, resourcefulness, right? So if you're limited in your own money and your own funds, then you got to start thinking, okay, if I had somebody with a gun in my head and they told me I need to raise capital to actually invest in the business and get a deal, how would I go about it? Right? Is there not somebody that is interested in real estate investing, but maybe they're a doctor, maybe they're a family member that has a business, doesn't have time for this? You can build a machine, run it with their capital, right? So, I mean, I don't really know of a bigger ticket item than real estate that can be traded online and over the phone. I don't know if y'all realize that, but we are living in an age that you can literally trade the biggest asset for somebody else over the phone with some marketing dollars. If you want to go, and bootstrap it, you can definitely do that. I have an entire course on that on the learning section. And then consistency is about having discipline. I mean, we all get tired. We all get distracted. We all have our bad days or bad weeks. It's about how you respond when you get off gear, right? That's what I would say. 2 to 3 deals a month consistently is the goal here. I would challenge that you want to do more. 2 or 3 deals that, like, if you shoot for something, a lot of times you just you go short on it, right? So why don't we go for 10? Like, how does going for 10 deals a month look like? What would I need to do, right? Because a lot of deals do fall through. They fall through because of title issues. They fall through because the seller ghosts you. They fall through because last minute, or you did not read the market right. There's a lot of reasons why deals fall through. So 2 to 3 deals to me is a little bit too little. You want to go ahead and work towards 10 at a minimum. All right. What have you tried so far that is not working for you? Texting. Yeah. I mean, carriers are marking likely spam almost everything. I'm not surprised that texting is being really hard for you. I mean, we've done some testing in the past, and it's never been my favorite channel. We're not even running. We're just 100% inbound. I don't think that it has a huge bright future. I think everything is going to be more opt-in based, more permission based. And so it's best to just go ahead and start looking at this as a business. And the fact that texting, cold calling, all that stuff is going away, it's eliminating a lot of the hobbyists or a lot of the cheapo people, right? And so if you understand that, hey, it's going to cost me anywhere between $1,500 to $5,000 to close a deal, and it's going to return 6 to 21 times whatever dollar amount I put in, then let's work towards that, right? Let's work towards that. So I hope that helps. I'll be posting these answers from all the membership requests here in the community, in the WiFiFlips community. For those of you that were granted founding member access, remember, I want to see you active in the community. That is the only thing that we ask, right? If a profile is just essentially not active, not introducing, not engaging, eventually we're just going to go ahead and do a cleanup every month. So I want to welcome you guys. Very blessed to serve you. And Let me know that you saw this. Vishal, Marlene, and Joven Eugenio. All right. God bless. Take care.